Hey guys, BHSpring Solutions LLC, BHSpringSolutions.com. This is a very short video of an introduction to a brand new product as of September 2025 for BHSpring Solutions. This is the BHAdvanced Recoil-Spring Buffering Guide Rod. This buffers recoil right when you need it most. And right when you need it most, by the way, is when that slide has reciprocated all the way to the rear and you hear that click, that slam. Well, I call that the slide frame collision at the back end of recoil with violence. That violence is what causes your muzzle to want to flip. Some right-hand shooters have a nuance of it sort of flips off to the right, some kind of straight up. At any rate, that violence of the back of the slide frame collision meeting like that is what is one of the things that primarily pulls your sights off target. And to control that better allows you to keep your sights on target better. It makes rapid fire accurately possible for a great many shooters, and it improves performance and it improves controllability and shooter confidence in every case in any high power that it is installed in. The particular first generation I want to tell you about, this is BHSpring Solutions, BHAdvanced Recoil-Spring Guide Rod, our first iteration of it, which has now been discontinued. What has been improved is a redesign of the guide rod head. And by the way, the Recoil-Spring Guide Rod in the high power has multiple functions. It is the command and control. It is what's causing that slide stop right there, as you can see, to stay influenced or biased towards the down position. That means your slide stop does not lock your slide back before it's timed because it's just randomly moving around. That detent ball in the Recoil-Spring Guide Rod on high power guide rods is what influences this. And all Recoil-Spring Guide Rods in the high powers were disposable almost. They were limited life parts. They had a captured spring inside. You couldn't replace it. What BHSpring Solutions has now done, and this is the new, I guess you'd call it the second generation BHAdvanced Buffering Recoil-Spring Guide Rod, and you see the major change right up front, and the major change is right there. What this idea or this design from Léon Hubert does is, instead of needing a ball spring behind the detent ball to put pressure on it, there is no spring behind the ball because this design allows the recoil spring to now double as the detent ball spring, or the slide stop spring, because otherwise your slide stop does not have a spring to dictate its position. So this buffering guide rod comes with 3 weights of buffering springs, heavy, medium, and light. The more buffering, the more benefits that you're going to get as far as recoil control. You use the same recoil spring, whatever is optimal in your high power. You don't change recoil springs. I'm going to explain that here in just a moment. But one of the hazards of the previous design, and I specifically mean this enclosed design, is all guide rods made with that design for high powers in history can be installed upside down. They can be functioned upside down at once before you start tearing things up inside your gun. And this is the install method for the buffering and all BHAdvanced Recoil-Spring Guide Rods with this design. You install with one tine only in the barrel cam lug. Then put your slide on, as I'm doing right now, and just come back about that far. And that's called self-installing. If you turned this the right direction, the correct side up and the correct side down, it will self-install. If I attempt to do that in reverse, and let's say I mess this up, it happens, and we're now going to try to install this way, and it will not do it. So this is the install method that we recommend because it takes out of the picture the possibility of installing upside down, which is going to cause damage, probably to your slide, at a minimum to your guide rod. And you see we self-installed correctly when we did it correctly. So that is the new BHAdvanced Recoil-Spring Buffering Guide Rod from BHSpring Solutions. This is for all full-size high powers. And I mentioned that there's 3 different buffering springs. Okay, some of our high power owners are full of wisdom and years, and some of them complain from time to time about it takes quite a bit of hand strength and everything to rack the slide of a high power pistol. Having multiple buffering springs is accommodative to folks who find this, and particularly getting to that point of the back of recoil when you just heard go slam, slam, slam. That is what I'm talking about. First of all, the shooter needs to be able to reciprocate and rack the slide back. And that is the heavy buffering spring that I am using. Regardless of that, my wife has much, much smaller hands. A high power is sometimes a little bit of a challenge for her to rack the slide. And adding that buffering, by the way, starts to kick in right about in there. It's that last 3/8 to 1/2 of an inch of slide travel, right when you need it most, is when you get that extra shock absorbing effect of the buffering recoil spring guide rod. Well, racking fully against a heavy buffering spring is just a little bit over her capability. However, racking against the light or the medium buffering springs, no problem. And even if she needed only the light buffering spring, a light buffering spring is 100% more than 0 buffering of the recoil of the slide, and buffering what I call that slide frame, that back end collision that happens with violence, that is what contributes to muzzle flip. So another primary benefit of the BHAdvanced buffering recoil spring guide rod is the ability to rapidly fire the firearm with accuracy, because you're taming that muzzle flip with that internal spring here inside the buffered version of the BHAdvanced recoil spring guide rod. Folks, thanks a lot. Mark Allen, BH Spring Solutions LLC, BHSpringSolutions.com.